Scotia Bank Saddledome, where the Hawks and the Flames get at it for the second time this season. Let's take a look at the Ford goaltending matchup. And tonight, that man makes his 9th consecutive appearance. His goals against, third best in the league. His save percentage is 7th. And at the other end, the last time he saw Chicago, he was 0-2. The other guy, Kari Ramo, was 2-0. But that particular night, Jonas Hiller made 49 saves in a 2-1 overtime victory. That turned his entire season around. He now has latched onto the top spot in the blue paint for Bob Hartley's team as we get this one underway.
And this first period is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Now Hossa rolled it to Taves. Put it into the zone. Here's a center pass side. Now Taves shot. Good save by Hiller. Point blank on Taves. He was in so tight he had to just try to muscle it through him. Now Hossa got checked by Beaumont. And Glenn Cross takes over for the Flames. And something to keep an eye on in terms of matchups tonight. This deep pairing for Calgary. Giordano, who at this point would win the Norris Trophy if the voting was today. He and Brody have been a terrific deep pair. They're going to be up against the Taves line all night long.
Yeah, that chance by the captain, Jonathan Taves, bunted it out of midair. It was about 2 feet off the ice. As you mentioned, Pat, he was in tight. Hiller makes a stop.
Granlund will chip and chase on Oduya. Cleared around the board. Schmid pinched to keep it in on Kane. Radoslav Schmid trying to pry it off the boards. Hjalmarsson made a good backhand pass, and out comes Steve, who will get it in. Longs look to complete a change. Weidman gets back, turns it over for Steve, and then he had a mishandle. Picked up by the Flames. And the clearing attempt off the glass and out of play.
First shot of the game goes to the Chicago Blackhawks. Good work by Duncan Keith deep in his own zone to break it out, take a hit. And here's the finish of the play. Jonathan Taves takes it off the backhand, and in the isolation, watch him take the shot in midair. Puck jumped up on his backhand. It was about 18 inches off the ice. He gets the shot away. Hiller with the first stop.
We're all ready with the starting lines. Those are the AT&T Uverse lines. They'll be located at the top of your screen. As Brandon Bollig couldn't get rid of an opportunity, Nordstrom put it back into Calgary ice. Derek England will hammer it around the boards. This one all the way down, going to be icing Calgary. We did not have a chance to mention the officiating staff tonight. The referees led by Gord Dwyer, paired up with Eric Furlat. There's Mr. Dwyer. The linesman Brian Murphy and Matt McPherson.
And with the icing, Coach Joel Quenneville gets his #1 line out there.
And Taves wins a draw. Here's a long shot. Never got through from Clendenning in his first NHL shift. There's the puck cleared back to Roosevelt. Adam Clendenning, you see a right-hand shot playing the left side tonight. That's not totally unfamiliar, but he usually plays on the right. So in his first game, first assignment is to step in as a left D, and a penalty coming up.
Yeah, typically tougher than you think. And we'll listen to the call here from the referee.
2 minutes holding the stick.
Holding the stick on T.J. Brody, one of their key penalty killers too. So the Blackhawks get an opportunity here. There you see the bump by Brandon Saad. T.J. Brody latches on. Good call by the referee. And an opportunity here to do some damage. Calgary has not been killing penalties very well of late.
They've given up 4 in the last 4 games. 4 to 13 have been converted against them. As a Taves face-off win again. Here's Keith going down low to Taves. Smith is at the front of the net. I don't think we have mentioned to you that Andrew Shaw not in the Hawks lineup tonight. Glenville did not think it was going to be a long-term situation, but unavailable this evening. Upper body. Here's Duncan Keith to Patrick Kane. In for Taves, dropped it to Keith. He'll look to Seabrook. Smith's at the front of the net. And Smith taking the Shaw spot as the screener on the power play. Seabrook's going to ring it around. Smith had it jump loose, and Granlund came up for the Flames. Granlund got hit up high by Keith. They play on. I say hit, he was really pushed. Here comes Kane. Rolled it in. just out of the reach of Saad. Engelland couldn't get it beyond Richards. Engelland again, this time, shot at the length.
It's one thing these penalty killers will do from Calgary. They're hard workers. They're really going to force you. And early in that penalty kill, it was Paul Byron all over Duncan Keith, who had no room at the blue line. That basically killed that play, and they've had a couple good clears.
Now Clendening getting a little power play time. Working the point along with Richards. Clendening to Versteeg. He's going to ring it around. He comes back to Richards. He looks to Clendening, who's open. He's going to bring it. And he fired it wide. I think he was looking for Versteeg's stick. It's held into Clendening. Now Hosa's in the middle, dropped it back. Here's Richards. His long shot. Oh, and that never reached Saad. I think he was trying to get that one too. Now a keep by Clendening. Looking for a lane. And Hosa, Clendening's one-timer. He scores! Adam Clendening in his second shift in the league scores a power play goal, and the Hawks have the lead.
Oh, and what great patience, too. Playing catch on the half boards. So easy to get on the power play and just think shoot, but he decides to pass, and it opened things up for him. He established a screen in front of the net, and what a howitzer of a slap shot from Adam Clendening. Watch the play develop. It's going to come to the middle. He's going to go back to Marian Hossa. He'll get it back, and that sets up the screen in front as Chris Versteeg. You see Hiller looking the other way, and that was a rocket. The one-time shot from Adam Clendening, a shot he'll always remember, his first ever NHL goal.
Well, let's see. He's had about a minute of ice time. So if he keeps up this pace...
Well, that's what the average... Oh, watch this.
Here's Nordstrom with a steal with a backhand shot and a save by Hiller. Rebound is going to be held in by Oduya, whose shot is blocked. Oduya chipped it deep. Wideman for Calgary. Now it's clear to center ice. Byron checked by Carcillo. The puck jumped loose and Nordstrom the other way. Kruger wants Nordstrom, feathers it ahead. Nordstrom shot. It's handled by Hiller, who covers.
And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time. Later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And you were talking about Adam Clendening and the pace he could be on. That's what he was advertised as when he was drafted back in 2011, an offensive defenseman. And he played for the Team USA, the World Junior Championships, the under-18 team. He led all defensemen in scoring. And he was asked, and Joel Quenneville will be the first to tell you, you want to play on my team, you got to think defense first. You got to be able to play defense. And that's what he did down in Rockford. Ted Dent did a great job with him down there. And so far, so good in his NHL career.
Horn put it in for Bickle, who's checked. Now Smith. Ben Smith working at center tonight. Here's Chalmers in a long shot. Hiller fought a rebound. Knocked out of the air by a high stick. That would not have counted had it gone in. As Morin just directed it toward the net, but he made contact above crossbar level.
Yeah, Jeremy Morin. As you mentioned, that puck up above the level of the crossbar. And as he makes contact with it, yeah, wouldn't have counted. You see the high sticking signal from the referee. I'll tell you, early in this game, though, Hiller, a couple pucks coming off his body. And that's the one knock on him. He's a blocker.
Morin, that one is kicked to the corner. And Glenn Cross checked by Smith. He failed to get it out. A four-man battle on the wall. The Flames eventually get it out of their end. And now Oduya looks across to Bickle.
Really like the forecheck from the Blackhawks so far. They're not punishing guys, but they're stealing pucks, and that's something they do with their quickness.
Jonathan Toews going to drop it back. Seabrook coming on a change, able to keep it. Now Hossa leaves for Toews in the corner. Knocked away from him. Brody sandwiched, a takeaway by Toews to Saad. Saad with a wraparound. He got it to Hossa with a shot. That's blocked by Brody out in front of the net. Rebound Toews. Now Saad. He got it to the feet of Hossa, who kicks to the stick, but then mishandles. He's got to hurry back as Berchi could not beat him to a loose puck.
Yeah, Berchi had a bit of a head start there, but Marian Hossa, realizing he made the mistake, wasn't going to let him beat him to that loose biscuit.
Juris dropped it back into his own end. A wonderful start here for the Blackhawks. Now, yes, they did have a little bit of power play time here in the first 6 minutes, but the puck has been down in the zone to our left virtually never. It's going to change as Gaudreau gets into the zone, and a blowout there. Picked up by Hjalmarsson. A bank pass finds Kane. He's got some space into the zone. Kane pulls up and put it across the ice. Picked off Gaudreau. This pass stolen by Hjalmarsson.
The Blackhawks just really attacking with speed, and you're right. It's been in the right side of the rink so far the first 6 minutes here, almost 7 minutes now. And they're just attacking Calgary with speed, backing them off the blue line. As I mentioned earlier, too, a real good job sealing boards and stealing pucks.
Marcus Kruger, good back check by Byron, who steals. Then Carcillo stolen back. He drives to the net. Shooting! He scores! Danny Carcillo with a takeaway. Then a snapshot, and it's 2-0.
Well, we talked about the forecheck of the Blackhawks, and here a perfect example. Danny Carcillo had 5 shots in that last game against the Calgary Flames. A couple of point-blank chances. He failed to score in game number 1 against Calgary. Scores here. And it's a perfectly placed shot as you look at it just inside that left post. Not a lot of room there. And he used the defenseman as a little bit of a screen. Pulls it inside just a little bit. The quick snapshot. And just like that, Blackhawks up 2-0.
Ferland dumped it into the Chicago zone. Throws it all. Put it around the boards. Boards a good shield to keep that puck from being held in. And now Schmid will have to dump it. They get it into the zone. Schmid's long shot. Blocker decided easily by Crawford. And a wrist shot by Monahan. Crawford gave a rebound, but Clendening right there, and out comes Bickle. He might have an on-net rush. Smith is with him. Bickle shooting, and a save by Hiller. Able to hang on. Well, in the first NHL game that Adam Clendening ever played, able to pound to the back of the net. A rocket to score on the power play and put his team in front.
Attention Dish customers, if Dish drops Comcast Sportsnet from your lineup, you'll lose the thrill of Blackhawks hockey on CSN. Tell Dish you want to keep your Blackhawks. Call 1-844-I-WANT-CSN now and demand Dish keep Comcast Sportsnet. For more information, go to iwantscsnchicago.com.
You see Ben Smith moving in for the draw, and he wins it. Keith to Seabrook. A long wrist shot. Hit traffic in front. Then tapped loose to Byron. He cleared it ahead. Ferland gets into the Chicago zone. A check by Seabrook. Now Juris tried to dig it out, then Ferland did. Dropped it back. Weidman's long shot. Tipped the redirect, just missed. And Ferland came up with it for the Flame. And as Weidman. Vladislav Schmid, he put it down deep. Ferland left it in the corner. Juris got pushed aside by Seabrook. Now Byron centered it. Juris couldn't get rid of an attempt. Lots of white sweaters there. Seabrook goes without a stick. Now it's held in by Schmid. Goes to the other side. Brody's long shot. The redirect from Byron missed. Berchi picked it up. He wants Brody shooting. Oh, great block out in front. I believe that was Smith that cut across, and that was an important shot block. That was going to be a great chance for the Flames. And it never got to the net.
Yeah, it was Ben Smith who'd given his stick finally to Brent Seabrook. Then he grabbed his stick for more, and so he was out of the shooting lane for a little bit. But watch him recover. See him coming in from the right side of your screen, and a perfect two-pad slide. Takes it in the shoulder. Now that line has to stay out there because they iced the puck. Really the first time Chicago's been stuck in their own zone.
Now Giordano put it in behind. Allen check. Bickle takes it back and scooped it the other way. Mark Giordano, and I mentioned this briefly, but if the voting was today, this guy would be likely the Norris Trophy winners. The top scoring D-man of the league, which helps his case, but more than that, he's always playing against the other team's best players, and he's a plus player. He's been great all season long.
Hard to believe, Pat. He was an undrafted player.
Nobody ever thought he'd be able to play in the league, and He's certainly come a long way. Brandon Saad, picked out of the air by Taves. Good stick by Brody, preventing a shot. Now Hossa picked it up, centered it, deflected in front, and a stuff attempt by Saad, denied. As the Flames then are able to get it out.
What a save by Hiller. That pass came out front. I think it went off Monahan's skate right to Brandon Saad, who had a point blanker.
Saad checked here by Weidman, couldn't get rid of an opportunity. And Giordano settles it down for Calgary. Well, it bounced in there. Brendan Bollig beaten to it by Clendening. But Bollig picked up the puck now, shoots one, that's blocked. Clendening, rebound, Heck! Down low, and Crawford made the stop. Versteeg sending Roosevelt out of the zone. Kane takes over. Now Richards looks in front, just out of the reach of Versteeg. This Versteeg going to leave it in the corner. That one's picked off. And the Flames get it out. Now we're halfway through the opening period. And the Hawks have outshot Calgary 9-3 in the first 11 minutes. Here's Byron moving and has no help, but got around Seabrook. Turned down low. And his pass tipped free to Versteeg.
Versteeg towards the end of a shift. He was tired. He was looking for the pass. Tried to hit Kruger streaking up the middle. Just missed.
Upfield, Diaz got pushed aside by Kruger, whose shot was tipped out of play by Hiller. So dominance so far in the game for the road team. And the Hawks up 2.
Time now for Arkia drives to the net, and it's been all Blackhawks so far, and we'll look at both of those goals. First on the power play, Adam Clendening through a screen. It's a rocket of a shot. Nice pass there from Marian Hossa. And a little later on, fourth line for the Blackhawks. Watch the stick work there by Nordstrom. Joachim Nordstrom kind of pries it loose. It's Kruger. Over to Danny Carcillo. He snaps it home. That makes it 2-0. And there you see the 2 goal scorers I mentioned. Danny Carcillo, 5 shots in that last game against Calgary back in Chicago.
Taves to Keith. Duncan Keith goes rink wide. Out of the reach of Seabrook, though, and Flames look to counter Brody's pass. Just kind of a tweener for Glenn Cross. Going to be icing Calgary.
It's one thing you notice about the Blackhawks. They're passing right now real good early in this hockey game, and that really adds to their speed. I mean, they're a skilled team, but when they're passing tape to tape, boy, they just play a lot faster. And that's probably been the biggest difference, aside from their forechecking, is just the speed they've attacked Calgary with.
Nordstrom, Keith takes a look for a lane. And a whistle on the play. There might have been some contact around the net, and looks like it'll be a Chicago penalty.
And Marcus Kruger, interference is the calls you heard from the referee. Just hanging around in front of the net. Look at the left circle, number 16. Yeah, it's kind of a subtle pick, but not so subtle. Good call by the referee. Calgary to the power play.
Against the best penalty-killing team in the league. I mean, how about the Blackhawks in the last 14 games they've played? They've only allowed 2 power play goals to be scored against them. That's 2 out of 37.
And it all starts right there. You know, with face-offs. Winning face-offs when you're shorthanded, so important. And the Blackhawks win a vast majority of theirs in their own zone. Easy clear there by Duncan Keith.
Weidman chipped it deep. Hossa chased it down. And Keith had his clearing attempt held in. Bounced loose in front. And the Flames, Monahan. John Monahan able to hang on nicely. Rolled it down low. Kudler. Good stick. Hjalmarsson, he broke up the feed, allowing a Taves clear.
Yeah, that's just a great combination. Hjalmarsson getting his stick in the passing lane, and then Jonathan Taves, you know, anticipating where that puck might go. He was the first to it, and he gets it down the ice.
Now Oduya, time to clear it. A minute for the Calgary power play. The Flames converted just 1 out of their last 10 with the extra man. Giordano will ring it around. Now it came back to Brody. He'll look to Gio. Here's the long one-timer blocked out in front. To Oduya clearing.
It's a good play by Ben Smith. Sometimes dangerous when you get your stick in front of a shot. It can deflect and end up on the goalie. Puck does funny things, but that time blocked it from Giordano, and another clear by Chicago.
Gaudreau dropped it. Brody shot a tip. Oh, that hit Taves' stick. What a stop by Corey Crawford. His first difficult challenge of the game as it hit a teammate, and he's able to locate.
Yeah, TJ Brody, 4 goals on the year thus far. And as you mentioned, the stick of 19 just tries to get into the shooting lane. But if it doesn't block it completely, it's going to do some funny things. And that kind of knuckles on Corey Crawford. Does a real good job just to stay square, take it in the stomach, and make sure there's no rebound. Archie right out front.
Stevie, this PK has gone just the way the Hawks have wanted. A 140 in, just the 4th group out there. They change them up 3 times. So just what you want, about 20, 30-second shifts if you can. Change them up, get fresh legs out. Here come the Flames. Here's a wrist shot, kick away. Rebound, they score! The initial shot kicked right to the stick of Byron. He's able to poke it home, and the Hawks lead cut in half.
The Blackhawks probably had a chance to ice the puck. They looked for a play up the middle. It got stopped right at the red line, and then the ensuing counter right here. The puck goes on net. The butterfly saved by Corey Crawford, but he kicks it right onto the stick of Byron. Right time, right place. They score with the man advantage. That hasn't happened much against the Blackhawks. And more importantly, it's gotten this Flames crowd into the game.
And apparently Nick Hjalmarsson must have reacted badly. He's been sent to the box. Now the Hawks, having just given up a goal, are going to be shorthanded.
Well, I would think that's probably an unsportsmanlike misconduct penalty. We'll have to wait and hear.
Well, it's going to be a 2-minute penalty. That's what's up on the board. So not what Glenville will put up with for any length of time, but I have to admit I didn't see it, but he had to say something. I don't think he made any contact with the official, but Hjalmarsson for unsportsmanlike, and the Flames back with the extra man. Brody rolled it at Glenn Cross, who's got only 2 goals this year. Normally a big producer. Here's Brody. Put it across. And they'll get things set up. Glenn Cross dropped it back up the boards. Hudler back to Giordano to Brody. His shot. Crawford shoulder save. Rebound. Oh, and Seabrook, I think, was trying to shoot it to the corner. He sort of golfed it back toward his net. And then Crawford able to cover it up.
Well, we might be able to see exactly what earned Nicholas Hjalmarsson the unsportsmanlike. Watch him talking to the linesman. Skates by him, then talks to him. The linesman looks back. Then he goes right to the referee. That last save by Corey Crawford. A high riser, almost hit him in the mask. Had to shake his head, and again, quick to cover. We should point out, Marcus Kruger took that first penalty for the Blackhawks, a key penalty killer, so he was in the box when that goal was scored.
As is a key PK guy right now. Nick Hjalmarsson usually gets a lot of PK time. Here's Diaz with a long shot. Crawford gave a rebound. Gaudreau couldn't settle it down. Roosevelt checked. Couldn't get it beyond Gramlin. Gramlin working well here for the Flames. They're going to keep it in. Here's Weidman's long shot. They score! 2, and Corey Crawford furious, thinking he was interfered with. And referee Eric Furlan was 10 feet away and said, no, it's a good goal, and this is tied.
Yeah, it was Furlan who was in front of the net. He might have got his stick into the side of Corey Crawford. We'll have to wait and watch on this replay. Watch 79 in front. He's down below the goal line. He'll head to the front of the net. Yeah, not the stick, maybe his body, and not enough. I think that's a good non-call. Not enough contact there. He's within his rights. He wasn't in the blue paint. He was on top of the upper crease area. And another goal by Weidman. He had 1 against the Blackhawks for their first game, had 2 last game against Anaheim.
And the one he got against the Hawks actually was a lucky goal. It was a long shot that hit Trevor Van Riemsdyk stick and went on the net. But you take him any way you can get him. And The Flames once down by 2 with 2 power play goals. And now we're back to where we started, all even.
From our Xfinity Telestrator, take a look at Niklas Hjalmarsson and that man there, because he's going to be involved a little bit of a trip. Now, just before the puck goes in the net, watch the stick of Hjalmarsson, upsets the Calgary Flame player. He goes down, the goal scored. So what happens is Kruger is in the box. He comes out because of the power play goal. Niklas Hjalmarsson goes back into the penalty box. 2 power play goals for Calgary, and they have totally changed the momentum of this hockey game.
Well, but let me just correct what I had said earlier. I'm glad it was actually a real penalty and not something for yapping at the officials. So my bad. I got that one wrong, and glad we could show you exactly what the penalty was. It was a tripping call. And that's why Hjalmarsson went right to the box after the goal. Here's Versteeg in on Engelland. Now Richards has time to take a look. Kane moves to the middle to Richards, a blast. Oh, he fired it wide. Rebound for Versteeg. Able to jam it off the boards. Kane able to hang on under checking from Engelland. Patrick Kane for Brad Richards. He winds it around. Good throw. And then it's taken back by Richards. Here's Kane. Then Versteeg. Richards for Kane. A backhand shot. Good glove from Hiller.
Well, I think Brad Richards wanted to set this up as a one-timer to Patrick Kane. It's a little behind him, so what does Kane do? The right thing. He just stops it, does the spinorama, and he's got a great backhand. A wicked backhander. That would have just squeaked inside that right post as you look at it. A good save by Hiller, who looked a little shaky maybe early in this hockey game, but he's made a couple of stops here down the stretch.
Now the Flames get it deep. Seabrook looks for Hossa. Looking to break an 8-game goalless drought. Hossa. Now here comes Keith with a shot. Missed the net. Rebound cleared up the board. Seabrook there. Hossa. Checked by Monahan, but he held on to it. Now Hossa. Back to Keith, then Seabrook. Glenn Cross will tap it back to the Chicago line. And Duncan Keith was coming off his first multi-point game of the year. The Flames will dump it. Clendenning hit hard, but cleared it up to Bickle. Roosevelt, good play to Smith. Ben Smith gets in there. Now Morin. Jeremy Morin for Brian Bickle. Shot it from a tough angle off the leg to Roosevelt. He tries, and a save by Hiller. Rebound Smith. And Smith couldn't get rid of a backhand under good checking. Brian Bickle in deep. He looks for Smith. Oh, Smith's stick was free momentarily. Couldn't get the puck there. And Weidman got it to Berchi, who cleared the zone.
And Ben Smith did a real good job in front of the net. And you're right, Pat, he was open, but only for a second. Brian Bickle took a little too long earlier. Real good one-on-one with Max Reinhart. Just gets low, and Ben Smith, he's got such a low center of gravity. Really hard to knock off the puck.
Marcelo taking away Brody. And Ferland can only get as far as center. Juris got turned around by Kruger. Nordstrom takes over. Joakim Nordstrom dropped it. Seabrook shot it, missed the net. And Juris goes to the other side, and Byron. Josh Juris carries it into the Hawk zone as they're changing. He has no help in the moment. Juris spins in behind, looks to center. Crawford picked it off, gave it up, and then he had to stop a shot. Boy, a point-blank opportunity for the Flames after Crawford put it right in the middle of the ice, and there was Johnny Hockey.
Yeah, and that was all Josh Juris, though. Really made that play. As you mentioned, Pat, that was a 1-on-4, and he bought time, a little stutter step, found himself open, and tried to jam play from in behind.
Nice Nice move, Kane shooting. Oh, and his wrister went just wide. Rebound. Richards shot it through the goal mouth to Gaudreau. His bank pass missing Hudler. And the Hawks will get the icing.
Josh Juris, one of these youngsters they brought up from the minors, Adirondack, and he's filled in really well. Watch the little stutter step right there. And that's good awareness. Tried to stuff play, and as Johnny Gaudreau came in with the follow-up attempt. And all of a sudden, Calgary with 11 shots on net. At the 12-minute mark, they only had a couple. They've been coming on strong.
Final minute of the first. Into the zone, Granlund. His name is familiar. It's his brother who plays in Minnesota. This is Marcus Granlund. The other guy's Michael. As the Flames regroup, Giordano. Pass to Flecko. That came up and hit Chalmers, and he's hurt. Here's Monahan. He cuts in, centered it. Good block out in front. Either O'Duy or Hossa made a block. Might have saved a goal. And now a whistle. The whole sequence started when the puck came up and hit Nick Chalmers, and he was stunned and really couldn't continue to play. And then the Flames got something going.
And there he is. Jonathan Toews gets a hooking penalty a little bit after. You know, the ref's not going to blow the whistle, especially with Calgary in control of the puck. As soon as a white jersey touched it, they would have blown the whistle. Watch the puck get deflected. Looks like maybe it hits the chin of Hjalmarsson. And watch Jonathan Toews ends up picking up a hooking penalty right there on Sean Monahan. It was going to the net. So the Blackhawks, who came into this game, I believe, either first or second as far as taking the fewest number of penalties in the NHL, taking 3 minor penalties in this first 20 minutes.
Kruger wins this draw, so Seabrook has time. And one final rush in this period available to the Flames. That pass didn't work, and they should not be able to generate anything before the horn sounds. And the first period is in the books, and the Flames wind up getting outshot by the Hawks only by 1, 12-11, the Chicago Shooting Edge. And by the way, that late injury to Hjalmarsson, he did leave before the period ended for some repair work. Clendening on the Hawks power play, followed by Carcillo, gave the Hawks a 2-0 lead. But 2 consecutive power play goals, Byron and Weidman, have tied it up.
This period of Blackhawks hockey was brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Blackhawks hockey on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers. Visit buyhyundai.com. BMO Harris Bank. We're here to help. Ford, who invites you to visit your local Ford store or localfordstores.com. Corona Extra. Find your beach. And by Kia. Visit mykiachicago.com to learn more.
This is unbelievable. I mean, I really appreciate this recognition from the NHL Broadcasters Association. I'm humbled by it. It is a completely surreal experience. When I first started thinking about being a sportscaster as a very young man, I was hoping that somehow I'd wind up with a big league team in a big league town. So how'd that work out? In my world, since I can never personally win a Stanley Cup, this is it. And the greatest thing about the Cup is sharing it. When John McDonough came to talk to me about maybe coming back to the Blackhawks, I was thrilled. And since my return, it's been absolutely amazing. I'd have been happy without this. I'm really thrilled with it, but, you know, I've had a great life, and, you know, I got more to go. This recognition is rad, man. It is epic. I am jacked, I am juiced, I am wired, I am stoked. This is awesome. And yes, Eddie, it is tremendously tremendous. So to my godchildren, Mary Claire Foley and Patrick O'Keefe and Luke Patrick Laxton, to my first roomie, B, and my conscience, Kate, to Mom and Dad, they're telling us today that we done did it. So I love you. Thank you. I hope you're as proud of me as I always have been of you. Thank you. I don't think the story's over. I think there's a few more chapters to go, and so I'm going to try to do good at that.
Well, our thanks to Blackhawks TV and Ryan Linich for that excellent piece. And Pat, a well-deserved honor. Take us through that afternoon and how you were feeling.
Well, I mean, I used the word surreal, and that's pretty much it. Again, I'm very grateful that it happened. I certainly appreciate all the support that I've gotten for all these years, and there's more now than there's ever been. So to Blackhawks TV, Blackhawks organization, you've been part of the ride, and a lot of people have. So I certainly haven't gotten here by myself. And included in that thought is I want to tell you what I did before we left at the airport yesterday. I went over to see my dad, and they give you that sport coat. Didn't fit, but they give you that sport coat at that ceremony, and that's where it is now. That's Bob Foley. I went to see him yesterday morning and dropped it off. He's got it. That's exactly where it belongs. I could not have had any thought of doing any of this without him, and the greatest man I've ever known. So I appreciate what he is and what he's about and everything he has always been. So, Dad, I hope it fits you better than it fit me.
That's great on him.
Well, as it should. As it should. All right, remember now the second period getting underway with the Blackhawks short-handed for a minute and a half. A late penalty to Taves. The reason for that is for the Flames, who are 2 for 2 on the power play now with their third chance.
And this second period is brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers.
Giordano looks for Hoodler, then had to chip it in deep. Chalmerson. Going to be kept in. Giordano fired it across. There's Brody. He sends it ahead, then gets it back. T.J. Brody looking for a lane. Good block, Smith. Brody keeps it in with a minute left in the power play. Giordano goes down low. A shot and a save on Monahan. Rebound back to Crawford. He's able to cover it up.
Well, a couple of good saves from in close on Corey Crawford. And Pat, you talked about Mike Giordano, make that Mark Giordano a little earlier today. And yes, he's on a lot of people's list of best defensemen in the NHL. I had a chance to talk to him this morning because, as we mentioned earlier, undrafted, he really blossomed later in his life. And he said it was back in 07-08. He went and played over in Moscow, the Moscow Dynamo in the KHL. And he said he fit right in. He had a real good year offensively, just got a lot of confidence from that. And sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time. And Calgary needed defensemen. Yes, Jay Bouwmeester was here, but because of the play of Giordano, it allowed them to trade Jay Bouwmeester, and he is now the captain of this team.
Glenn Cross gets it settled down. Good stick by Oduya. It's dropped back. Weidman sends it the other way. Now a centering pass. Good stick lift by Hossa. Boy, Hoodler was right there. The pass was in his wheelhouse at Hossa. We'll take another look at that. Marian Hossa, the brilliant two-way player, saved what could have been a problem. Back in they come. Monahan left it. Brody's got it. And a good stick there, Oduya. T.J. Brody rolled it into the corner. Now in behind. Bowman takes a look. Now the Hawks penalty over. Both teams full strength. And Oduya gets help from the captain. Then Chalmerson drops it to his partner Oduya. Hawks are changing. He had no help. Had to just dump that in. Giordano back. His pass deflected to Kane. He tried to feed Versteeg just out of his reach. Brody shot it back the other way, and no icing here, so Glendening has to get back.
It's fortunate for Calgary because Giordano was out there dead tired. He got the change.
Versteeg checked in the corner, and he's still able to come up with it. Chris Versteeg dropped it. Glendening put it across Kane. Centered it is Versteeg. He whipped on a wrist shot. Great setup by Kane, but Versteeg unable to get it to the goal. Berchi to the other way. His pass broken up. Versteeg missed Kane with a pass attempt. Chris Versteeg, by the way, after being benched in Detroit, came back the other night against Dallas with a goal and 2 assists. But here come the Flames offensively. Weidman centered it. Here's a shot. Oh, Reinhart missed the net. Max Reinhart got to it in deep. centering attempt picked offside. And inside, back in the offensive zone. Brings it around Hossa. Outside. He dropped it to Keith. Fired a hot pass, too hot to handle for Hossa.
That was a 4-on-2 for the Calgary Flames when Max Reinhart shot it just a little bit wide. And a bad change by the Blackhawks.
Now Glenn Cross. Zulia trying to stay home, but finally it escapes the zone. Let's dump it back in. Owen took a funny hop, apparently went out of play, then back toward the Calgary net, so the whistle goes.
Pat, you talked about a play from Marian Hossa, and I think it's worth revisiting. And from our Xfinity telestrator, take a look, and he's right under the Xfinity sign, but he's going to get his stick in here, and he's in a very deep area way over here as we run this. As a penalty killer, normally you take your half of the ice. Well, he came a little farther than halfway, and it was a good thing, too, because Yuri Hudler, it was in his wheelhouse. He was getting ready to fire, and a great defensive play by number 81. That's that no man's land that shooters like to get into. Too far for the defenseman and too deep for the forward coming back.
Berglund comes off the board shooting, and a stick deflected that one up and out of play.
Well, remember to bring your Blue Cross and Blue Shield card to all Blackhawks home games for a chance to be a part of the Blue Cross upgrade experience. Carry the card. It gives you benefits wherever you are. Blue Cross through it all.
Now here's the draw. Engelland rings it around. And it bounced away from Ferland to Clendenning. Chipped it up the boards. Engelland kept it momentarily. Oilers do get it out, and Kruger to Roosevelt, pounding it deep. Carcillo shot it from a tough angle. It's held on to by Jonas Hiller. Well, a momentous day or two in the Blackhawks world. Patrick Kane celebrating yesterday his 26th birthday, and also the director of media relations, Brandon Faber, celebrating a birthday today. He's a little bit more than 26, but not much. So happy birthday to both Kaner and Fabes. Here's the draw. Taken by Bickle, whose shot is blocked to Gaudreau. Hudler put it in. Backlund shot blocked that goes up and out of play.
You mentioned Backlund, and he has been a real nice find for these Calgary Flames. He wasn't supposed to be here. Was sent to Adirondack before the season started, but he had injuries to Michael Backlund, and that was Granlund we were looking at. But Michael Backlund, Matt Stajan goes down with an injury. Joe Colburn, who can play center, also down with an injury. And you get three centermen out of your lineup. You're forced to play some guys who maybe aren't quite ready, but he has shown he is everything and ready.
The Taves steal to Hossa. He steams in there. Hossa centered it. Taves would never reach him. Good play, Brody, defensively. And the Flames get it out. Doma got checked. What of that? Hossa makes a great play at the offensive end, then breaks up a rush at the defensive end. He is everywhere. Now Brody. It's cleared to center ice. Monahan pulls up along wrist shot, gloved by Crawford. Well, Sean Monahan started his career with 6 goals in the first 8 games he ever played. Certainly slowed down since then. The next 87 games, 23 goals. This guy, though, is going to be a good player. Bob Hartley talked about him. Being a good guy on both sides of the puck. He says, we don't want one-trick ponies here. And he said, this guy down the road is going to be even more productive than he is now. And he's relatively productive now. But, I mean, you know, he's a kid. And still trying to get things figured out in the NHL.
Just think about it, just his second year in the NHL, and Bob Hartley's got him out there against the #1 line for the Blackhawks, and that's the Jonathan Taves line.
Johnny Oduya with his own man with a dump in. Bowling had to wait. They would have been offside, and so Rafael Diaz put it ahead. Oduya to Carcillo. His long wrist shot easily gloved by Jonas Hiller. Now the Blackhawks want to send their deepest condolences to the family of Mark Beeben, who passed away last Saturday. Mark was not only an avid hockey player, but a big supporter of the team. Most importantly, a devoted husband to Jenny and father to Isabella, Charlie, and Ryland. We're thinking of the Beeben family during this difficult time.
And in our Hyundai What to Look For, we focus on point production, where the Calgary Flames are at the top of the NHL in 2 different categories. Most points by defensemen with 59, and most points by rookies with 28.
Here's a long, sorry, Stevie, but Oduya's long shot handled that time by Hiller for another draw. Please finish.
No, I think I was finished. But, you know, you look at the point production from Giordano and Brody and Weideman, who now has 2 goals against the Blackhawks. That's where they generate a lot of their offense from, is from the back end. I can remember talking to assistant coach Jacques Cloutier, and this was a couple of years ago, Pat. We did a game here, and he said the only way you can generate offense in the NHL now is to have your defensemen join the rush, and that's something these Calgary Flames D-men do very, very well.
Richards a face-off win. Oduya is going to go down low. Hjalmarsson to Kane. Patrick Kane goes rink wide to Oduya. He took a whack, but it's blocked out in front. And Kane jammed it to Richards. Brad Richards looking out in front. Now left it for Stieg, who had an assist added to him in the first Hawks goal. For Stieg got a helper on Clendenning's tally. It winds up back at center, and here come the Flames. A chance for Juris. He cuts in, shooting. Oh, he tried to go high glove and put it over the net. Josh Juris in behind. He got checked by Oduya. Able to glove it over to Hjalmarsson. Backhand pass finds Kane, who was stripped of it at center ice. Now it comes back to him. Oduya had everybody changing up in front, so good job to keep possession and find his partner. A fresh 3 is out there, but this pass misses. It's icing. Well, we mentioned before, but it's very rare that the Calgary Flames get outworked. And talking with Bob Hartley about that, when he first came here, the first year he was here in the lockout year, I asked him how many times he left the game and was disappointed in his team's effort. He said, well, it happened a lot the first year, but we made some changes. And among the things that, you know, the only currency any coaches have anymore, you can't send guys down. Dennis Wideman, in the second game of the year, was benched. And, you know, when you do that to a veteran guy, not some 5th or 6th D-man or a 4th line guy, all of a sudden messages start getting received by everybody else on the team. And here's a whack by Taves and a save by Hiller. But, I mean, I think everybody around the league generally would tip their cap to the Flames in terms of their work ethic. And Hartley wants to talk about Giordano and the leaders on his team, and, you know, rightfully so. But you got to look at the coach sometimes when that happens as well. Here's Taves. His shot blocked. Now Hossa left it for Taves. He tried to center, never quite reached side. And Boma tapped it out.
Fans yelling for a penalty, but Duncan Keith just a good job trying to keep it in. Stuck his stick out to get to the puck and had one of the Calgary Flames forwards step on it.
Now Ben Smith steps into Kane. Patrick Kane picks his way toward the net. Now he'll drop it to Keith. Kane, a good keep. What a job to keep the play alive. Smith over to Roosevelt. Now Clendenning just on the ice for a change. Roosevelt, Kane. They've got the Bickle front of the net. Here's Clendenning. A long wrister, never got through. Brandon Bolig Bounced it out of the zone.
So just a real good shift by Patrick Kane. You know, the play seldom dies when the puck is on his stick. He always keeps it alive, finds the open man. Doesn't turn it over very often, especially just inside the offensive blue line.
Here's Bickle. Good pass. Here's Nordstrom to the forehand, and he had it deflect just wide. Now Gaudreau. Carcillo came over the boards on a change at a perfect time and took a Gaudreau off the puck. Here comes Kruger in there with Nordstrom. The centering pass went right to Hiller. Then Carcillo. His pass picked off.
And I think Nordstrom got that puck, and he had his half a step on Diaz. Probably would have had a breakaway. Tried to cut back inside and ended up getting it poked off his stick.
Well, Steve, talking about Bob Hartley and the way he's handled things. Johnny Gaudreau, the young guy, little guy who came in here with high acclaim. In the 6th game of this season, he was scratched, not playing the way Bob Hartley wanted him to play. Since that scratching, 3 goals, 13 points in 13 games. So it's not all about the offense here, but it clearly wasn't getting things figured out on his side of the red line. When you get it figured out, you're going to get back in the lineup and, you know, according to Hartley, play it the right way. And it's been working in the favor of Gaudreau ever since. But, hey, you're not doing things the right way. You go sit in the press box, son, and, you know, figure it out from there.
Well, it takes guts, too, because you don't want to crush the kid. You don't want him to come back and lose all his confidence, and it had the exact opposite effect. He came back, and he's really taken charge.
Ferland works against Kruger, then Oduya came over and steal Byron. Big save by Crawford. Byron on a turnover and a point-blank chance. Crawford kept the game tied.
I think that was Kruger. Had it come off his stick, kind of funny. Don't think he was trying to pass it. Right to Byron, who's been very noticeable here for the Flames.
Now Kane back into the zone. Richards to the net. Kane centered. It is Versteeg. What a save by Hiller. Great pass by the line. Here's Seabrook. He scored! Great setup from the boards, and Seabrook blew it by the gloved hand of Jonas Hiller and the Hawks on a Seabrook tally back in front.
Well, Brent Seabrook's on a nice little roll himself. He scored in his last game. He's got 5 goals now in his last dozen, and a great setup from Patrick Kane, number 88. Watch the save here by Hiller. Just gets a toe on it, but Kane stays with it, and that's a perfect backhand feed through a tough area. That's a high traffic area, but he spots Seabrook coming in, and what a shot. That's a classic snapshot right up over the glove of Jonas Hiller. And that has quieted the crowd here. Gives the Blackhawks a lead, but really quieted the crowd here at the Saddle Dome.
And as you mentioned, a real sweet dish from Patrick Kane, who is coming off a 3-point night. Here's Kane again. And his shot blocked this time. The Flames try to break back into the zone. Hoodler sent it. Brody. He couldn't redirect the pass. Kane got it out of there. Kane on Sunday against Dallas had a goal and 2 assists. The first time he's had a 3-point game this year. And he just picked up a sweet helper there. Gaudreau looking for Hoodler. He sends it into the corner. Gaudreau. All 5'9" of them tried to put it out in front. That's picked off and cleared to center by Saad.
You know, with Kaner, and he had that sweet pass. But remember the shift before too. He really controlled the play, and that's how Patrick Kane operates. He has some big shifts. He starts feeling good about himself. He gets a little braver out there, and he can just take over a game single-handedly.
Berchi. The ring around attempt deflecting out of play. And so the Blackhawks have jumped back in front midway through regulation.
Luke and Mark invited to join us later tonight for Sportsnet Central.
We'll have highlights and reaction from the Blackhawks road trip opener against the Flames.
Plus, we check in at Halas Hall. The Bears get ready for the Bucks.
Now, time now for our AT&T U-verse upcoming schedule, and no rest for the Blackhawks. They get on a plane tonight. In a couple of nights, they're playing the Edmonton Oilers, who lost last night against the Vancouver Canucks, and that's a team the Blackhawks will play on Sunday. Then it's off to Colorado. They finish up on the West Coast, Anaheim and L.A.
And the last couple of games of this trip kind of make you think the early part of the trip you need to get the points. Because any time you're swinging through California, particularly Southern California, tremendously challenging.
When you look at that schedule, too, you think Antti Raanta might get a couple of looks, of course, on the back-to-backs in Vancouver, maybe in L.A. right at the end of the trip.
Giordano moved it ahead. Here come the Flames. Glenn Cross weaves into the middle. Now send it open net. What a pass by Glenn Cross, and a tap in for Monahan. We're tied.
It's not very often that Duncan Keith gets beat one-on-one, and he doesn't get beat cleanly, but just enough that Brad Richards tries to help out. That allows Sean Monahan to be wide open. Watch the play there by Glenn Cross. He draws two players. Watch the two white jerseys, number 2 and number 91. Go to Glenn Cross. That allows Monahan to be wide open. And Pat, you were talking about him earlier this period. Just a second year in the NHL, and he's going to be a good one for a while.
Versteeg trying to get it to the middle. Schmid broke it up. And now Versteeg able to keep it in. Chris Versteeg helped by Clendening. He rolled it in behind. Then a steal by Richards. Goes down low. Kane tried to hoist it in off the shoulder of Hiller. Richards again to Kane. Kane able to hang on. Now, interference will be the call as Hawks try to create a little space for Patrick Kane, and then Weidman and Kane got together, and Hawks make sure nothing happens to their superstar. But Roosevelt is going to have a seat.
Yeah, keep an eye on Michael Roosevelt. You know, that's 2 picks now in the offensive zone the Blackhawks have been called for. Here's Roosevelt. Watch him take the care of the stick of the Calgary Flames player. And just as he skates in, a little whack there, knocks it out of his hands. Good call by the referee. You go back to the first period, it was Marcus Kruger 150 feet away from his net. That time it's Michael Roosevelt 150 feet away from his net. Not the types of penalties you want to take. It's going to be a long 2 minutes in the box for Roosevelt.
Well, right now he hopes it is 2 minutes in the box.
Yeah.
Here's the draw. Glenn Cross. Oh, it jumped loose, and Smith pounded at the length.
Look at the Blackhawks tonight. 2 power play goals against. They only had 2 power play goals against in their last 9 games combined.
The last 14 games coming in.
Wow.
Unbelievable. The run they've been on, but the Flames back to the extra attacker, and they get it into the zone. Brody, here's Giordano. Good save with the right pad by Crawford as Gio got all of that. And Crawford moving to his left, able to kick back with a right leg.
Yeah, he's got a heavy shot. Really leans on his stick. He gets a lot of bend in it, a lot of torque, and that thing just jumped off his blade.
Giordano whiffed on a one-timer there. Archie put it around the boards. Now Weidman. Giordano back to Weidman. He wants a one-timer. Crawford blocker save. Rebound to Furlan. Rolling it in behind Oduya. Hammers it off the glass. Giordano a great keep. Then Kruger gloved it back the other way.
Smart play. You know, you think glove it down to your stick and get it down, but he realized he didn't have a lot of time, so he just swatted it down the ice.
Now a good keep, Furlan. Diaz fakes, then shoots. Glove save, and a good one by Crawford.
Yeah, that was Weidman with the keep in. You know, so easy to back off the offensive blue line. You think there might be a break, an odd man rush, shorthanded. Number 6 keeps it in. And then it gets sent across the ice. A little bit of a screen in front of Corey Crawford earlier. There's a heavy shot by Giordano. Well, into the pads. We've seen a lot come off the pads of Corey Crawford. Not a lot he can do, though. Shorthanded. You know, sometimes you try to place rebounds. You're just reacting to a shot and hope you stop it.
keep by Diaz. Now Weidman. Fired it back to Rafael Diaz. Hudler dropped it. Diaz back to Hudler. He centered. Here's a shot. Monahan. He his own man out in front. Glenfrost trying to screen. Puck loose to Smith. Good stick by Crawford, allowing that clear. And the Hawks penalty now over. Both teams are at full strength.
That was Kruger that time collapsing down. Remember the Marian Hossa did it against Hudler? That time against Monahan. Monahan used his body to shield the block and ended up getting off a bit of a shot.
All right, now Kane back into the Calgary zone. Dropped it back. Seabrook, a wrist shot, never got through Schmid, and the Flames try to start back. Juris carries a wrister. Crawford gave a rebound there. And Hawks able to jam it back to the boards. Here comes Taves. Oleg broke it up, and Juris the other way in to Granlund. His pass jumped away from Brody. Marcus Granlund in behind. But it knocked off his stick. Rosabal with 4 minutes to go in period 2 in a 3-3 battle.
Johnny Oduya's been stuck out there for a while now. He's tired.
A steal by Bolig. Centered it. It jumped loose. Back to the line, Brody. A long wrister. Blocked Rosabal. Berchi as the Flames have some going here. Here's a long shot. Brody, that's blocked. And Berchi, his shot never got to the net. Brody. Now rolled it into the corner. Bolig there. His pass stolen by Versteeg. Looking to clear. He failed to get it out. Reinhart. And Versteeg took it back. Able to hoist it out to center ice. Hawks in desperate need of a change. And not only two can get off now. The third one goes. Back goes Rosabal. And the Flames need a change also, so not a lot of pressure here for Chicago.
It's a good job by Rosabal to hang on to it, though. He could have rushed it, maybe turned it over.
Pickle. And a bull rush. The net could not. The puck deflecting back to center and Juris. 3-on-3 to the line. Josh Juris, that's offside as Beaumont went in there early. This is only the 7th time in 19 games the Hawks have scored a third goal, but they're tied.
Well, this Tuesday, get an inside look at a man whose talent, toughness, and passion on the ice electrified our city. Chicago Blackhawks icon Jeremy Roenick, JR, presented by Cadillac. Inside look this Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
Right, the Smith line for Chicago, the Granlund line for Calgary. And now Kane bounced it into the Flame zone. It's Smith, Pickle, Kane out here now. And the Flames did not connect on a pass. Chalmerson chasing to the boards, able to one hand to the head. It didn't get out. Boudreau couldn't pick it up.
Joe Quenneville realizing that Jonathan Patrick Kane has really got it going. He's double shifting him. Jeremy Moore normally on that line. He's getting double shifted.
Puck finds Kane on the board. So did Schmid. It's jammed loose. Gaudreau. He dumps it in. And Oduya back. Puck is out of play. Penalty, Oduya. And wow, the Hawks just can't seem to stay out of the penalty box tonight.
Well, every penalty preventable. You know, mental mistakes in the offensive zone. If you flip it out of the over the glass in your own zone, it's a delay of game penalty. Johnny Oduya realized it right away. Just trying to go high off the glass, just a little too high. And another key penalty killer in the box. Blackhawks forced to kill.
In 4 power plays, the Flames have 2 goals. They've had 12 shots in 4 power plays, and they win and draw again. Giordano to Monahan. He walks, he wires, put it over top of the net. Giordano kept it in. A steal, Chalmerson.
Glenn Cross doing a real good job in front, and he's, for whatever reason, always plays well against the Blackhawks, but he's standing in front. I think he's 6'2", almost 6'3", providing a real good screen in front of Corey Crawford.
Now the Flames, Monahan. Rush broken up. Taves at center. Final minute now of period 2. T.J. Brodie will get it into the zone. Glenn Cross went down to steal Kruger.
Glenn Cross looking for a penalty there. Tough to call that when you're already down a man.
Weidman ring it around. Found Seabrook. His clearing attempt gets down there the length. Taking their time and a change here. We're down to 15 for the frame. And Gaudreau, a blowout by Seabrook. Oh, offside. Ferland went offside, fortunately, for the Hawks. And in both, maybe Seabrook went down because it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Interference is going to be called.
Hoodler not too happy because he didn't think he really interfered with him. Tripping's going to be the call. Watch 24 and 7. Just to the right of your screen. Oh, that's clearly a trip. And maybe Seabrook goes down easily. You know he's there. Tripping the call, so we'll see 4-on-4 hockey to close out this period. Blackhawks will have a power play about 30 seconds into that third period. Opportunity here, though, to win a draw and to get a look.
Richards and Monahan will square up. Well, not anymore. Richards tossed. And Patrick Kane comes in for a draw.
He won it.
Hey, he won it. Here's Keith to Kane. Richards to the net. Kane tried to bank the puck there. Didn't get the right half. And the period will come to an end. The Calgary Flames had 9 shots in the second period. The Chicago Blackhawks had 6. And through 2, it's 20 for Calgary, 18 for Chicago. 1 goal each way in the second. For the second time tonight, the Blackhawks able to take the lead when Brent Seabrook found a Patrick Kane pass and drifted it. Then Monahan got the answer on a great feed from Glenn Cross.
This period of Blackhawks hockey was brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, proud sponsors of Blackhawks hockey on Comcast Sportsnet. Blackhawks hockey on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by AT&T Uverse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world.
Welcome back to Calgary, where we're tied at 3 heading into the third. And in our Illinois lottery, anything is possible. We focus on the third period, where the Blackhawks have allowed the fewest goals in the third with just 7 against. Conversely, the Flames have scored the most goals in the third period in the entire NHL. They have 27. As Pat would love to say, something's got to give. That's our Illinois lottery. Anything is possible.
I remember we start 4 against 4 in 20 seconds. The Hawks are going to have a power play. So a fresh sheet of ice, just what you want with the extra attacker.
And this third period is brought to you by Chevy and ChevyDriveChicago.com.
All right, Keith. Penalty now over. Power play Chicago for 90 seconds. Seabrook will dump it. And they retrieve Brodie. Checked by Taves. Bickle there to help. I believe his first power play shift of the game. Bickle, and a jump loose. And the Flames will send it the other way.
It's too bad. Blackhawks had 3 white jerseys in down deep, just hoping for a loose puck. It came loose, but unfortunately a little too far right in front of the Flames' net.
Kane into the zone. Dropped it back. Keith Will go down low. Bickle to the front of the net. The pass here deflecting. Kane picked it up. He got checked right away. Help from Bickle to Seabrook to Keith. He's well covered. And a terrific job of PK so far here by the Flames.
Yeah, that was Jurish, who's done a real good job. Remember, he's the guy who's called up from the minors for the Calgary Flames, and he plays in a lot of different situations. Here he's on a very important penalty kill.
Richards pass way out of the reach of Saad. Versteeg tried to get it to the middle. That one read and picked off, and the Flames start back. Granlund into the zone. Tried a shot that was blocked. Clendening. And that finishes the Calgary penalty. Both teams now are back at full strength. So T.J. Brodie will drop it to Giordano. Hjalmarsson will crank it deep.
No shots by the Blackhawks on that power play. They really couldn't get set up.
No, never did. Here's Johnny Hockey. Gaudreau whiffed on one wrist shot attempt. And Schmid gets back for the Flames. Now a dump in attempt picked off Keith. He got pressured by Glenn Cross. He still made a good pass. Hawks get it in. They change as well. And the veteran Schmid, who played for a long time just down the road, where the Hawks will be in 2 nights in Edmonton. This one dumped into the Blackhawks zone. Seabrook to Keith. Missed Smith with a pass, but no damage done as it went back to center. More pressure to turnover. Bickle's got it. He shot it, and it didn't get through. Glenn Cross the other way. Put it ahead. Juris got hit. Glenn Cross corralled, and he's stripped by Seabrook.
Good stick by Brent Seabrook there. Just lifting onto the stick and jumping on a loose puck. Starts the breakout.
Now Rafael Diaz moved it ahead. Rush jammed up by Roosevelt. And back is Adam Clendening, who in his first NHL game tonight scored a goal on a power play blast. This pass missing, though, and icing the result. We talked a little bit earlier about Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau, the 5'9" phenom here in Calgary. And talking with Bob Hartley earlier today, he actually made the comparison to Denny Savard. This little guy's 5'9", but he said he's like Savard in the sense that you think you have him, and all of a sudden his feet go every which way, and he's gone. But he's certainly not going to put him yet in the category of a Hall of Famer, but he said he's got similar flash to the way Denny Savard plays. I mean, we've seen some of that, some of the highlights we showed you earlier. I mean, this guy, for a little guy, at times can be a big man's game, but if you're shifty enough, you can work in this league.
Yeah, and you know, I talked to him this morning, Pat. He's only 150 pounds. And
is that carrying his hockey bag?
Yeah, that's soaking wet carrying his bag. But he said he really studied Patrick Kane. Now, Patrick Kane, I think he's 185 pounds now, but when he first broke into the league, maybe 165, 170 pounds. And he said he learned a lot from mostly his awareness of not getting hit. So you're 150 pounds, you get hit by a 220-pound defenseman, it's going to hurt. And he just doesn't put himself in those situations.
Kane here for Richards. Brad Richards wants Kane the shot, and he fired it just wide. Kept in Hjalmarsson. Deflecting to Ferland. Michael Ferland dumped it in.
Patrick Kane's got it going. He's got an assist tonight. He had the big game last game against Dallas, and he's just jumping with the puck.
Richards stripped of it to Kane. That would have been offside if he touched it again, so he just let it go. Granlund in for Gaudreau, trying to get to the middle. Oh, and his pass just sailed over the blade of Hoodler. He would have had a pretty good chance otherwise. This pass missing, and it's going to be icing Chicago. And Ladislav Schmid, who goes back to touch up. In training camp, Schmid had a bad tooth, and it became infected, and he had to eventually have 4 teeth yanked out. How about that? I mean, he said it felt like he had a concussion for a while. He actually missed some time, a couple of training camp games, but one bad tooth turned into an excavation.
Well, you know, it just amazed me that you look at the Edmonton Oilers. Couldn't they use a guy like Ladislav Schmid right now? Just a big defenseman who's got experience, settle things down. And I'm surprised they traded him, especially when they traded him 200 miles south to your biggest rival.
Now Seabrook. Good pass for Kruger, but Nordstrom's stick was checked. Engelland cleared it ahead. And Monahan able to work his way into the zone. His shot, though, blocked by Hjalmarsson nicely. The Flames regroup. Now back goes Oduya. He knew he's going to get hit by Buma. And the Flames keep it in. Brody put it up the boards. Then a long range shot floats wide. Giordano tried. That's blocked. And Ben Smith cleared the zone.
Boma's a big body, 6'2", and he's staking a claim right in front of the net every time he's out there. Finishes his check every time, too.
Now Glenn Cross had to drop it back. They'll dump it. Hjalmarsson missed more into the pass, icing Chicago.
Well, attention Dish customers. If Dish drops Comcast Sportsnet from your lineup, you'll lose the thrill of Blackhawks hockey on CSN. Tell Dish you want to keep your Blackhawks. Call 1-844-I-WANT-CSN now and demand Dish to keep Comcast Sportsnet. For more information, go to iwantcsnchicago.com.
Now the draw, Ben Smith, who was 5-1 against Dallas the other night. So far tonight, just 2-6 at the dot after 2 periods. And he's going to get another chance at the defensive zone here.
You know where he was really good against Dallas, Pat, was killing penalties. And, I mentioned earlier in the first period, you want to kill penalties, win that draw. And not killing a penalty here, but if you can win that draw killing a penalty, chances are you're going to get to it, get it down the ice, and 15-20 seconds off the kill.
Flames get this, and the pass picked off from Gaudreau. Morin gets out with it. The Hawks need a change. Schmid for Calgary. Now Gaudreau, an extra move at the line, forced that play offside. 7 minutes have been played here in period 3. It's tree and a turd down in Calgary.
Time now for our BMO Harris Bank check replays, and not an overly physical game. Calgary actually leading Chicago in that department, 12 hits to 3. There you see a couple of hits on Dan Carcillo. There's Johnny Oduya eluding a hit. So not overly physical, but pretty fast.
Well, the top lines for both teams on the ice in this confrontation, and the top D pairings as well. Here's Hossa. That's ruled to be offside.
Well, in honor of Veterans Day, the Blackhawks wore camouflage jerseys during warm-ups on November 11th. Each player has autographed his own authentic camouflage jersey, and they are now available through auction at ChicagoBlackhawks.com. Place your bid now through Monday, November 24th. It's supported by Boeing. All proceeds will benefit the USO of Illinois.
Crawford came out to play it. Looked like it was going to be icing, but Hawks now with possession, and Seabrook. A long pass for Saad. And on Brody, who took that puck right away. Then Saad gets it back on a Hossa forecheck. Saad dropped it to Seabrook. Brandon Saad, according to Joel Clinton this morning, had his best game of the year the other night against Dallas. Very noticeable. He's been less effective so far here tonight. Here is Taves dropping it to Keith. His pass finds Hossa. goes a quick shot, and I think a blocker piece by the left hand of Hiller.
Yeah, one of their few good shifts. You're right, and it's not just side. This whole line really hasn't been that noticeable, and I think a lot of that has to do with Giordano and Brody on the back end. They eat up a lot of minutes. They eat up a lot of time against the other team's top line, and they've done that tonight.
Kane put it around. Ferland tapped it loose. Here come the Flames. Byron dropped it. Here's a blast by Schmid. Right on. Soaked up by Crawford. No rebound. Now that might have stung him a little bit.
Yeah, he's slow to get up. Another example of a Flames D joining the rush. Now, you don't expect Ladislav Schmid to be that guy, but he was. Fourth man up on the play, wide open. And yeah, he stepped into that one, right into the midsection of Corey Crawford. A good job of cradling that. Ferland was heading to the front of the net for a rebound, none to be had.
Marcus Kruger, Josh Juris, who gets tossed. Wouldn't line up properly, at least in the opinion of Brian Murphy. He's the only guy that counts, really, as far as opinions go. Now here's the draw, taken by Carcillo. Juris gets back, pressure by Nordstrom. It jumped loose to center ice. Ferland gets in, a long wrist shot, missed the target. Carcillo tapped it out. Now Byron looks ahead. Puck roll back to Crawford and Chalmerson. Moved it to center. Versteeg, who's got 2 assists in the game, sends this deep. Bad pass by Hiller. Here's Kane. He scores! And Jonas Hiller gave the puck away, and somehow it found Patrick Kane. He pounded it to the back of the net, point blank. 4-3 Chicago.
We talked about this line turning pucks over, creating turnovers with their speed. That's what they do, and it's Hiller, an ill-advised play behind his own net. Banks it off the boards right to Patrick Kane. Kaner coming in on his left side, which he normally doesn't do, but he's got it on his forehand. And watch the quickness. Dances a player and then sets it up, beats Hiller. And that's Barchi. He beats to the inside. Quick shot, Schmid out front. It goes by him. Well, we talked about Patrick Kane a lot in the second and third period. Joel Quenneville realized it, was double shifting him in the second period. He's had a strong third here, and now he gives the Blackhawks the lead.
Kane coming off his first 3-point game of the season, now has a goal and an assist tonight. More importantly, his team is back in front. This is the 3rd time in the game the Hawks have had a lead. The first 2, the Flames have been able to catch up. Chalmerson backhands it to center. Richards with a dump. Hiller out to handle again, almost turned that over. And only a good recovery by Giordano bailed him out. Now here's a long wrist shot. Granlund deflecting up off the glass to Keith. Monahan stripped by Smith. Ben Smith spins to his forehand. Now Smith against Brody. Giordano got there also, and he cleared it to center. The net trying to get the puck there. That bounced all the way through. Steal Taves. Looking to drive back in. Taves now pulls up. Rolled it back. Clendening a long shot. Didn't get to the net. But that hurt the man who blocked it, Beaumont. Oh, a bouncing puck. And of course it found Beaumont. He's able to hack it out of there.
He's just
limping back to the bench.
Yeah, finally makes it.
And a bad pass here. This is icing Chicago.
Well, the 2015 All-Star fan vote is underway. Cast your vote for Taves, Kane, Sharp, Keith, Seabrook, and Crawford. Every ballot you cast is another chance for you to win a trip to the NHL All-Star Weekend in Columbus. Visit NHL.com/vote to vote today.
Glendening off the draw. So the Hawks need to get this in and get off. That happens aside. They get some help from Kruger just over the board. Now Saad goes to change to complete the five-man group. Kruger back to Keith. He's going to go to the late man. Carcillo coming on a change. Kruger's in behind. Hold it back to Keith. And to bank it to the front of the net. Kruger stripped by Weidman. And finally the Flames able to get it out.
Well, that play all really started with Marcus Kruger about 25, 30 seconds ago. Got to a loose puck before Calgary could. And that fourth line, another strong shift by them with good pressure in Calgary's zone.
And also, even before that, real good job by Brandon Saad, who everybody needed a change. He was able to get the puck down deep in there, and the Hawks kept possession. And then he's able to get off. So, running the sequence nicely. There's a bank pass here. Icing is saved by Versteeg. The Flames get the puck back.
It's a good play by Duncan Keith, too. He saw that Versteeg was in behind the defenders. Probably get to it first.
Granlund centered it. Here's Gaudreau, and he couldn't pull the trigger. And an unselfish play by Hoodler, but he was in the middle of the ice. Maybe with a second look, he might want to shoot that.
That's prime real estate right there.
Yes, sir. Oduya got pressured in the corner. Gaudreau centered it. Granlund a shot. Good save by Crawford. Rebound in behind. Now Diaz tried to join the play, but the pass missed him. And here comes Kane. Steaming the other way. Has Versteeg with him. Kane left it. Versteeg shot it. And a save by Hiller. I don't think was sure that he had it, but he did. And the Blackhawks with the lead goal from the birthday boy from yesterday. His 26th year, starting out in good form.
And just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And it's the first ever NHL goal by Adam Clendening. Good decision there not to shoot, play catch with Marian Hossa. He winds up, and there it is. First goal on the power play. That gave the Blackhawks a 1-0 lead.
And after a TV timeout, he starts with Rosabal and the Smith line on the ice with Bickle and Kane. So again, a double shift for 88 and White, as Stevie mentioned. Glenville really liking what he's seeing from his star winger this evening. He'll be the ice time leader among forwards for the Hawks tonight for sure. Kane sends this in behind. Bickle there. He got checked. And Bickle took a hit from behind from Schmid, but held the puck, and Smith is in behind the net. Ben Smith working against Granlund. He dropped it back. Oduya. His feed picked off. And now the Flames get back into the Hawk zone. Offside is called.
Well, we have an opportunity to take a look at our Xfinity Telestrator and that dump in by Brad Richards. And as we run this, keep an eye on the left side of the screen. It gets dumped in. Now, if we stop it for just a sec, here's Patrick Kane. Now, he has an opportunity to seal the boards, but he's hanging in the weeds because he's going to come into this area. And as we run this, watch it. He's ready to go to the boards. He sees the puck come loose. And boy, he can stick handle in a phone booth, puts it through the legs of Barchi, and scores the go-ahead goal.
Keith took it away from Bowman beautifully. Saad the other way. And then Saad dropped it. Keith shot it. Open for a tip, and the redirect from Taves went just wide. Great reaction, a read by Duncan Keith. Put that shot pass right where he wanted it. The tip just barely missed. Now Hossa for Saad. Brandon Saad gave it to Taves. He tried to center, never reaching Hossa. Brody the steal. Monahan starts back. Gains the Hawk line. Sean Monahan center. Glenn Cross the shot. Seabrook blocked and it's loose. Taken by Engelland. Centered it. Here's a shot. Monahan. Good block out in front. Engelland. Or I should say Giordano put it in behind. There's Glenn Cross. He tried to center. Giordano. Glenn Cross. Well, he's going to drop it back. Monahan's at the line. His wrister. And a redirect went just wide. I believe Boma got the tip. And the Hawks' Terry attempt didn't get out, but the Flames need a change. The Hawks dodge a bullet with what could have been even more pressure.
Yeah, a couple good blocks there. First it was Brent Seabrook, then it was Duncan Keith a little later.
Juris bending off a check through it right through the goal mouth. Here's a whack by Diaz up high. And it bounced out.
Well, they killed the pressure. Diaz at a real tough angle. You think twice about shooting there because if you miss the net, this is where the puck ends up, out at center ice.
Now the Flames, it's knocked away by Kane from Diaz. Here's Kruger. Trying to dance into the zone. But Byron ran it hard to the corner. Kruger was a little off balance when the hit was delivered, so it might have looked a little worse than it apparently was. Shot back into the Flames and Diaz on it.
Kruger really good one-on-one just earlier. He danced wide of it, but lost control of the puck, ended up in the corner. That's when he got hammered.
Ferland chipped it deep. 4 minutes remaining. Hawks up 1. And now Oduya turned it over. It's going to be held in. Weidman dropped it back. Here's the shot. Glenn Cross deflecting wide. In behind. Goudreau. Penalty coming up. Boy, the game-long problem of the Blackhawks, the inability to stay out of the box. It's the first penalty of the third, but at a critical time. 3:32 left into third. 4-3. Chicago, and the Hawks will be short when we come back.
Well, the official 2015 Winter Classic Blackhawks jersey is on sale now, and it's available at all Blackhawks store locations. Purchase your jersey as well as limited edition Winter Classic merchandise today. Visit ChicagoBlackhawks.com for more information. That last penalty by Nicholas Hjalmarsson, a subtle hook. Johnny Gaudreau draws the penalty, and Nicholas Hjalmarsson 2 minors now in this hockey game.
A board battle. Puck jumped high into the air, came down to Smith. He cleared it. This is the 6th time tonight that the Hawks have been shorthanded, which ties a season high. It happened twice earlier. The end of October it happened, and in game 1 of the year it happened. This is a real rarity. Half dozen times short. 2 goals have been scored already. Here come the Flames looking for the tie or a shot. Blocker save Crawford. Rebound back to the boards and Hudler. Came off the wall with it, Yuri Hudler. Dropped it out to Mark Giordano. 80 seconds left on the extra man. Brody walks and wires. Good block out in front. Taves picked it up. Hey! Cleared at the leg.
Good clear by Jonathan Taves. Great stop, too, by Corey Crawford a little earlier. Got his blocker on a high riser. There's traffic coming at him.
Now the Flames get back in. The centering pass. Gaudreau, his pass never seemed to get all the way through, and Kruger hammered it back to length.
It's a good clear. You know, sometimes so tough to get by a defenseman who's trying to keep it in. He put it right at the boards, put it about a foot off the ice, and it's 200 feet down the ice.
Looks have changed a couple of times already. Now 40 remaining. Giordano poked it in. Gaudreau looked for Byron and missed him. Picked up by Saad. And Brandon Saad, Weidman took a run at him and didn't get a whole lot of contact.
He was looking for a big old-fashioned hip check. Saad saw him at the last second, jumped inside, and slipped the check.
There goes Hiller to the bench. 6 attackers, Calgary. Now the puck loose in behind. Picked up by Monahan, then Hudler. 100 seconds left in regulation. Here's a one-time pass down low, centering attempt. Came into the blue paint. Crawford thinks he has it. Now it's covered. Glenn Cross there could not advance it. Past Crawford's leg pad.
from our WeatherTech RoboCam earlier. On the power play, Corey Crawford, a blocker save here, a little bit of traffic, and he punches it out. It's a good thing, too, because he had Glenn Cross on the doorstep. And speaking of Glenn Cross, watch 20 right in front of Corey Crawford. Makes the stop. Good job there, too, by Brent Seabrook, clearing number 20 out. Watch Glenn Cross pay the price. That puck gets redirected into Corey Crawford. No rebound off his body.
Timeout, Hartley and the Flames. 90 seconds remaining. And the Flames look as if with an offensive zone draw, they will remain 6 attackers.
Well, Bob Hartley drawing something up. Well, watch for the keyword to text during tomorrow night Sportsnet Central at 10 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the sold-out WKQX's Knights We Stole Christmas show on December 6th at the Aragon.
Skaters Chicago, 6 skaters Calgary. Juris and Taves. Flames win it. Giordano to Weidman. Back to Gio, his long shot. Crawford, what a save in traffic, and he's able to locate and not yield a second chance.
Boy, I think that was tipped by Juris. And you're from your GMC professional grade saves, none better than that last one. Watch Calgary win the draw, and 86 head right to the front of the net. Juris, I'm pretty sure he gets a stick on this. Yeah, 86 definitely redirected. Watch as he gets position and turns his body right there. And that changed direction on Corey Crawford. He makes the stop. More importantly, with Glenn Cross there, covers the rebound.
Here's that. Boy, Keith had it and lost it. Now the Flames have something going again, but the loose puck taken by Saad. He failed to get it out. And Hoodler, it's hacked away by Saad on a second chance. Well, again, 6 attackers. Calgary, the goal to our right, empty. We're down to the final minute of regulation. The rush jammed up at the line by Keith. Taken away Taves. And the Flames now have to hack it in. Keith back. Hammers it around. Giordano, did he keep it in? No! Right on the line was the linesman, Brian Murphy. The right call made. And the draw in the neutral area.
That's a real good call there by the linesman. It just came out about an inch. They saw white paint between the puck and the blue line. And the linesman right on that blue line area.
And look at Patrick Kane on the ice in a defensive scenario. Final minute with a 1-goal lead. This is going to be icing Chicago. Kruger, Smith, Kane out there for Quenneville.
You know, Johnny Oduya, I think he's got a good point. He was yelling that the defenseman tried to play it. It jumped over his stick, so it shouldn't be icing. I think the linesman got it right. If the puck's jumping, there's no way he can pick it out of midair. So another key draw here for Marcus Kruger.
Against Juris, Kruger pulled it back. Seabrook looks to this side. Kane able to tap it out. Down to 35.
Big play by Kane. He had Weidman right on his back shoulder, a bigger defenseman, and he just chipped it by him.
Hoodler into the zone, goes to the other side. Now the Smith stick was dropped. Brody kept it in. Oduya tapped it loose. A diving Kruger got it out. Down to 15. One final bid for the Flames. Hoodler dropped it. Weidman shot it. Crawford gloved it with 10 to go.
And Corey Crawford now 24 saves on 27 shots, a high riser, and watch the glove. Might have gone over the net, but still, he's not going to take any chances. Gets the whistle off to his right. Weidman could really shoot it. There you see his numbers on the night.
Now it's Monahan against Taves. They're checking the timing, or they're right now 10.2 showing. One of the officials over by the penalty box area.
You'd think if anything, they're going to add a little bit of time if they feel the whistle went and maybe a few tenths of a second ticked off.
You can see the official not happy. He's waving his hand. Circular motion. Let's go here.
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't take very long. Let's take a look at the overhead, listen for the whistle, and see what the time says. Well, maybe 11 seconds, so add 0.8 of a second.
Well, they're going 11-1 is what shows on the board now. But they're still looking as if they're not sure that's right. He's dropped the puck, really.
I mean, this is an important face-off, and 10.2 is plenty of time. 11.1's almost as much. Got nothing to do. Let's listen one more time, I guess. 11.2, 11.1. Yeah, Joel's getting a little upset now too. The guys on the ice for Calgary getting a little bit of an extra rest here, and that comes into play because the Blackhawks did get a line change. Now they've settled on 11 seconds.
Taves, Monahan, it comes to the boards. Flames put it back. Wideman across here, down a long wrister, tipped wide. Glenn Cross, 4 seconds. They hack it up the boards, and Hawks win. The Blackhawks start the road trip with a victory. Corey Crawford, a couple of huge saves late. And the Chicago Blackhawks open up a 7,000-mile journey with a 4-3 victory in Calgary. Back in a moment.